Okay, so in your emails, you might have gotten this notice already in one way or another. If not, I'm sharing with you now. Formally, this is our schedule for next Monday and for the 8 or 7 weeks until June 2nd. Notice in the schedule that it's kind of like what we have back at school normally, but you only see half your classes each day, and Fridays it's office hours. So for us, it looks like we're going to be meeting from Tuesday to Thursday, from if you're in block 7, 12 to 1, and if you are in block 8, from about 1 to 2. That's going to be our window. And during this time, it goes for my class and it goes for your other classes too. It's not always going to be a face-to-face Zoom or Google Meet session. Sometimes it'll just be I'll post a worksheet or I'll post something, you work on it, and if you want more help or if you want to hear from your classmates, you'll join this Zoom meeting so you can help each other out, so I can help you out. The principal emphasizes, because some teachers aren't as comfortable with doing online sessions or real-time lectures online, there's other things possible. The main idea behind this schedule is that, okay, you need to interact in some way, keyword being interacting with your teacher, right? So in Google Classroom, it could look like answering a question. In Piazza, it's just like what we did back in Unit 6, the data science unit. You're going to answer some kind of do now, say hi, how are you doing? It may be math related, it may not. You'll post that, and then I'll be sure like you've checked in with me. Because our principal and the school wants to know is, okay, if the student isn't showing up for any of the classes, so like you don't show up for any of these two classes or any of these two classes, then on Fridays your teachers are instructed to report that, okay, this student hasn't been attending classes. Someone needs to go follow up, and it may be your counselor, it may be me as your teacher calling you or emailing you to see what's happening. If you don't give any evidence of interaction, that's when teachers have to figure out what's going on. Okay, this is all new, but that's the policy that the principal has told us with this new schedule. And for my class, specifically tomorrow, by tomorrow, I'm going to release a little video on how these next 8 weeks will look. My goal is to mainly talk about parabolas. Let me see if I can show you real quick. And some of you already, like, you're going to be really comfortable in whatever I will have to talk about. So if we look at the textbook here, this is what I'm thinking about covering, and I still got to map it out. So in our textbook, we kind of stopped, or like right now, we're doing this optional chapter, chapter 11, about statistics and transforming functions and inverse functions. That stuff you're not going to get tested on until way later in your other math courses. But chapter 8, that's when we started learning about parabolas. I need to go back and finish a couple things around graphing them. My goal is to get through all of chapter 9. Oh gosh, it's being kind of slow. So chapter 9, which is a little bit more about parabolas, it goes over completing the square, the quadratic formula, and a couple more word problems. It also talks about inequalities. It isn't so bad. And then this next part is graphing inequalities and some linear programming. So it's like system of equations, but with inequalities. You have to shade in parts of your graph. That's an idea I want you to know before going on to your next math class. I would have covered chapter 10, which is a bunch of review, but during these times, I figured it's better that I just slow down and talk about parabolas versus rush through and worry about getting here. And if you don't know this stuff, you'll be fine in your future classes. Okay, that's what I'm thinking right now. I don't know whether or not there's going to be a final. No definitive on whether or not I'm even going to give tests in these upcoming weeks together. Uncharted territory that we're entering right now. But keep doing the COVID reviews, okay? For those that like want a daily helping of math or like almost daily helping of math, be sure you're looking over these COVID reviews. I said daily, but it looks like I'm just aiming to do these 4 days in a week, and all these are optional. Just click on it, do some review. I try to vary it up as much as I can, and topics that you like maybe don't remember, but as soon as you do a review problem on it, you will. Like finding x and y intercepts, that's a big idea. We're going to need it for parabolas. On the second part, function notation, a reminder of how that works, and you'll see that it relates. Like this question number 8, it relates to this inverse idea I talked about this week. Sequences, I think they're all adding patterns. So uh, mastery problems, harder questions for you to look at that are more interesting. So keep looking at those, keep working on it, especially if you're like thinking about Algebra 2 next year. You're going to want to keep your algebra fresh in your head. Those taking geometry, like as your only math class, you're kind of okay. It's geometries, the dependency on algebra isn't as heavy, but going into Algebra 2, you need like all these things I'm going over. Okay, as long as you're like doing some math, I'm proud of all of you. Mm-hmm. Okay, other announcements that I have. Okay, I already mentioned the calendar. And so yesterday, I had to cancel this session, and sorry about that. I was helping my old Algebra 2 teacher, one of our most senior members in the department, get her Google Classroom set up. It took a couple hours showing her how to use her phone to take a picture and upload those notes onto her Google Classroom, how to start a Zoom meeting, and how to like add PDFs to Google Classroom. It took a really long time. So that's why I had to cancel that session. She has like 5 classes of math students that need to get set up. So I hope you got what you needed from these YouTube links. Okay, be sure you're watching these. If you can't attend my sessions, tell your friends that if you can't make it to any of these sessions, and then at least watch the videos if you want to keep in the loop of what's happening. All right, any questions, class, related to the schedule, any of logistics? No. This stuff I will post onto Piazza for your reference. Try your best to maintain or to attend your classes. For me, it's check your email, check Piazza every single day. And most of the work will happen on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's when we meet.